New Year's is such a perfect time to hear about manifestation success stories, and I have one that will absolutely blow you away today. Allie Pratt, aka Energy with Allie. You've seen her on my channel before. She was a past client of mine. She did one-on-one coaching. She did my group program, The Next Level Life, and did a one-on-one in-person retreat with me. You've already heard about how she literally manifested everything on her vision board last year after working with me. But there's a ton of her story that you have yet to hear, and today you get to hear a lot of it. She's going to be sharing about how she lost every single bit of her material possessions, which led to her manifesting everything. This is from the speaker session that she did during my 10-day manifestation activation challenge. Give this video a thumbs up if you like hearing these manifestation success stories. And also, side note, my program, The Next Level Life, which Allie did last year and manifested everything from her vision board through that experience, starts next week. It is over 50% off right now until the end of today, the day I'm posting it. So after the 28th, it goes up to full price, which is thousands of dollars. Right now, it's hundreds. So check the link down below. It's a live coaching program. I'll share a little bit more about it at the end. But I really want to get into Allie's story, so here we go.
Thank you for having me.
Who would have thought? You last year, did you think you'd be up here?
No, but I remember you saying some of you, if you do these action steps, will be here next year. And I was like, I'm claiming it. That's me.
Yay!
This just goes to show you that anyone can be up here. You just have to invest in yourself. This is a free challenge. Invest. There is no excuse. Invest in yourself.
I've kind of like touched on where you were last year with your speaking, and I know a lot of them probably have seen you around my channel, and we've done lives and collaborated a bunch. But for those who don't know your story, speaking and doing this was not something that was comfortable for you.
No. So let me tell you a story. As a child, I was raised in a very religious setting where I was told I would go to hell, like I would burn alive if I didn't comply with the rules. So I've always been a rule follower, and in that process, I abandoned who I was. I abandoned my true self because my biggest fear was burning alive in for eternity in hell. That's the fear-based path that I was led down until I was sitting in corporate America when I was 26 years old. I did all of the right things. I graduated Central Michigan University, magna cum laude. I climbed the corporate ladder to create a very successful life for myself. And I remember sitting in my corporate job feeling so disconnected from my life, my career. And as a result, I became so overwhelmed. I felt unfulfilled, and I started self-medicating on Xanax and Lexapro, which I'm so grateful for because I needed it to function, because I could not function. That's how disconnected from myself I was and how so much of society is. So one day I woke up and I was sick of feeling like shit. I just remember I'm sick of my own stuff. I'm sick of my excuses. I'm sick of feeling like this. And I was sick of the same old patterns. I was sick of me drowning in the same results. And I knew in order to get a different result, I'm going to have to change my actions. And I also was very confused. I remember being very confused because I was like, I followed the successful path to a T. Like, why do I feel like this? Because I had conformed to what society told me I should be, because I was promised the promised land, and I did not get the promised land. So at the time I was trying to get pregnant, and after multiple infertility treatments, I remember waking up from the anesthesia because the doctor had to go in, take a scope down into my uterus and see what was wrong. And I woke up from the anesthesia, and I remember my doctor looked at me with the most horrifying look. And she said, "Honey, you're never going to be able to have kids." And I just started bawling. And I was like, why? Like, I know I'm here to be a mom. And she's like, there's scar tissue all over your uterus. There's nowhere for the egg to attach. In vitro won't work because the egg won't attach to your uterine wall. There's only surrogacy and adoption. We were exploring both paths. My sister Esta was going to maybe be a surrogate for us. She was going down that path. And I definitely made up my mind in that moment that I was going to adopt. And in that moment that I was determined that we were going to adopt, my energy shifted. like instantly. And I already was holding the energy that I was going to be a mom. It just wasn't the path that I thought it was going to be. But I was so confident in that, and I was so peaceful. It was like a very peaceful feeling that I was like, okay, I'm going to be a mom. So 3 months later, I woke up at 3 a.m. restless, and my side boobs were hurting. Like, I was like, that's never happened before. What's happening? I thought that was odd. And something told me to take a pregnancy test. So that next day, my husband was at work. I peed on a stick and I looked down. I can't tell you how many times I dreamt about getting a positive result. I looked down and it was freaking positive. And I literally fainted. I fainted to the ground in fetal position. I was sobbing and I was screaming, "Thank you, Creator. Thank you. Please protect this baby. Please make sure this baby is healthy. Like, thank you so much." Like, I've never, there's no human words to express how grateful I was. And that was my first realization that something beyond the physical body was at play, that an egg could attach to my uterine wall when I was told that it couldn't. So I began to get really curious about life. Why are we here? What actually makes up the physical body? What actually creates, right? Is it our external environment, or is it something unseen, right? Is it something beyond the physical? So 3 months after my child was born, I was sitting in her nursery and I was breastfeeding her. And I heard this gust of wind out of nowhere. It was in the thick of November, right after Thanksgiving, 7 years ago. And I thought it was a really odd time for a tornado or a thunderstorm. I'm like, what is happening? So I draw back the curtains with Emery in my arms, and flames start pouring into the nursery. And I'm screaming, "The house is on fire. Get the FUCK out of the house." I didn't know where my husband was. My brother-in-law was there, our dog. I'm like, are they alive? Are they dead? My instincts kicked in and I started running. I just started running. I didn't have a blanket for Emery. I didn't have shoes on my feet. I was just screaming, hoping that they got out. And I remember finding a way out. I left a door and I started running down the road, and I was just screaming for help. That's really all I remember, is screaming for help. And it took the fire department 45 minutes to get there. So we just watched everything burn. Everything that we worked so hard for just burned to ash. And a neighbor took us in. I remember how slow time felt in those moments. My husband ended up being okay. The dog barely made it out, but she made it out. My brother-in-law was okay. My daughter was okay. Everything that was precious to me was okay. That was all that mattered in that moment. And that night, I was looking at my husband and my daughter, and I was like, I didn't lose anything, because everyone kept asking me, what does it feel like to lose everything? And I'm like, in those moments where time was literally still, like I've never experienced that, but after reading some near-death experiences from other people, I guess that's a normal thing, where like time just stops. And I could hear birds like talking almost. Like it was like this sixth sense. It was like me being a dog. Like I could hear things that I couldn't hear before. And I got to witness how peaceful life was. And I was like, the chaos is literally self-created. It's human created. It doesn't have to be that way. And I looked at my husband and my baby and I was like, they're all that matter. They're all that matter. And there was this one, just imagine one question changing the trajectory of your entire life. And this is one question that I asked myself in that moment. I looked down at Emery and I was like, how am I going to guide you to a happy and abundant life if I can't live one myself? And that lit a fire under me, because I wanted to feel joy and fulfillment again so I could teach her how to create a life that she loved. And I knew I could do it. I just didn't know how. I didn't know how to do it, but I was bound and determined to figure it out. So I started healing through learning about how energy creates worlds. And this is when my life mission became so super clear. It became effortless. It became fun. And I knew I was here to be a healer and a teacher. And that's exactly what I did. Exactly what I did. And this introduced me to manifestation and insert Annie. I hired Annie because anytime I would speak, I would feel like I was burning alive, truly, from the inside out. I would break out in hives. One time it manifested as shingles when I was 30 years old. I knew I had to break that pattern, but again, I didn't know how. So that's why I hired Annie. I always hire a mentor to help me through these situations because you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to. You can have a supportive system, a supportive family. And after taking the Next Level Life course last year, which I spent $5,555 for, plus a VIP retreat. So the fact that it's $599 right now is freaking, what? Wow, like so incredible. It will change your life. I now speak live once or twice a week. I have hundreds of clients around the world. I enjoy serving. I am an energy healer. And I have my books for one-on-one clients are closed. I'm not even taking new clients anymore because so many people have been called to my work. Like, you become this magnet for your soul clients. I became an international healer. I sent that intention in, I think, December last year that I wanted to go international. I'm international now. I manifested my dream vacation to the Maldives. I manifested 2 cars, and it's not about the things, but it's cool because the things just come. Because you are being who you know you truly are. You're being that version of you that you feel is so far away from you. And that's why you feel uneasy. That's why you feel anxious, because you're not embodying who you truly are. And that's what Annie taught me to do. She taught me to embody who I was. I'm now being featured in podcasts. I've launched my first ever free live training. Like, I can't even imagine. Everyone's like, just do a webinar. Do a webinar. You don't have to go live. You don't have to deal with anything. And I'm like, no, I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to do a live training. If Annie can do it, I can do it. And I did it. And it was so successful. So successful. I think I made $20,000 that launch, which is insane. In one day. Okay? Like, if this is available to me, this is available to you. If I can do it, you can do it. I no longer feel burnout. I feel so inspired. And my career is thriving. And if anything, I can finally say that I have been able to re-meet who I truly am. And I couldn't see her before. So thank you, Annie, for everything. Like, it's miraculous what you can do when you get out of your own way.
So good. So good.
These comments. Oh my God.
Like, you are a pro speaker, by the way, is she not? Like, such a good storyteller. So good with your words. Like, people are engaged. People feel you. Like, wow. So,
Thank you so much.
thank you. I want to ask you though, because like you did the thing. You put yourself out there. Like, you went for it. Usually I would say, like, it's not about the how, but like, what would you say to the person that, like, how do I step forward and like actually make these sorts of, like, how can I make this work for me the way you did? Like, what did you do for that? How did you have to show up?
Yes, that is such a good question, because that right there is what held me back for so long. I thought that I had to be or do or follow a strategy, that I wasn't. You don't have to do any of those things. You don't have to follow a strategy. What I did is I cleared my energy. What Annie is teaching you right now about clearing, decluttering, clear it all out. Especially when you are first starting. If you don't know what you want, get rid of everything, because you can't clearly feel what you want and know what you want when you're holding on to other people's energy. So I spent at least 3 months clearing my energy, and I said no to everything unless it was an FUCK yes. I just kept saying no, 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 and I kept clearing. That doesn't feel good. That's not me. That doesn't feel good. That's not me. If something lit me up, I would do it. But otherwise, I would just say no. Say no to going out with your friends. I was a hermit because I had to re-meet who I truly was. I didn't know who I was. So as I started clearing, after that 3-month purge, that's when I got really clear on what I wanted. And I wrote it down and I could see it. And I was so specific about it. And I even walk around with it in my wallet to this day. This is what I want. I put it on an abundance check. This is why I do what I do. Anytime, like before this, why did I tell Annie I was going to talk in public? That was a stupid decision. This is why.
What does it say?
Because I have a purpose. I am here to give people empowering tools to be themselves, to know how they have the power to create a life that they love, to be an award-winning healer and teacher, to start a homeschool pod, to go to the Maldives, a yacht ride. Check. Already happened. This is why. Every single day, this is why I do what I do. And it keeps me so crystal clear. If it's not aligned with these things, I say no. If it is aligned, I say yes. And once you know what you want, you have to fully claim it. You have to sound crazy. You have to walk around and being like, I'm an award-winning healer. I'm a lottery winner. It has to sound crazy. If it doesn't sound crazy, you're not in the energy enough, right? So I'm a public speaker. I'm an international speaker. And that's who I am. What would people like that do? They would start speaking, right? What would a healer do? She would get certified and start healing. That's what I did. I just started putting myself in that energy. Another thing that you can do is find somebody who's doing what you want to do and do exactly what they're doing, but with your spin on it. So this is what I did with the lives. I wanted to go live because Annie challenged me to go live every single Monday. And I was like, well, what am I going to do live every single Monday? And Master Co goes live with an Anchor the Light meditation. And I'm like, I'm going to bring my meditations just like Master Co does. And so I started embodying that energy that I knew was within me too. Because if you admire something about somebody else, that's a mirror that you have that quality and you are meant to express that same thing. And then do it. That's the hard part, because you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to go live. I'm going to meditate live. And you're going to be like, everyone's going to judge me. Everyone's going to be like, what is she doing? Who does she think she is? All of those bullies that come up, you just have to tell them that they are safe, they are loved, and do it anyway. And do it scared. Do it with a rash all over your body. Do it with a dry mouth. Do it however it comes out, because you're going to have a physiological response because you're training your nervous system to be comfortable being in a different state of consciousness. And then after practice, it just becomes easier and easier, and then it becomes who you are, and then it's just part of your daily habits. It is scary. Like if it's not scary, then you're not doing it.
I couldn't imagine not having this version of Allie now. Like, it's so fun and cool to do life and things together. I've said I'm not here to just have a bunch of people watch me. I'm here to be like, come. I don't want to be on a pedestal. Like, step up. I'm not putting myself on a pedestal. You're watching me. I want you to step up too. Like, you step up too.
Annie has built you a pedestal and she's trying to just pull you so you can stand on it.
Yeah.
But like with you.
Yeah.
And then you can pull your people in and they can pull their people in and they can pull their people in. And it's this ripple effect of heart-centered leadership. That is the difference between Annie and so many other teachers, is because the pedestalization isn't from a heart-centered space. It's from a place sometimes of greed, of power, right? To have somebody so authentic, so heart-led and aligned leadership who's available to you as a mentor is just priceless. Like, the fact that Annie exists is such a miracle. And I'm just so grateful for you, because you're such a testimony to even some of like the most well-known gurus. Truly, like you are what they should be sometimes. So I'm just so grateful that you stand so authentic, so aligned in your leadership. I know everyone here can feel me on that. It's just in your energy.
And you too. Like, same to you. I could say the exact same things to you. To do more of this, guys. So with that being said, if anyone wants to join the next level life, like, I'm going to say this too. You could be like Allie. Like, you could have an experience like Jelly or Allie. Like, that can be you. It's really cool when you go all in. Like, is it not liberating though? Like, on the other side of everything?
It's the most freeing thing you will ever feel in your entire life. And I lost everything, all of material things. This is more freeing than that time that I lost all of my material things, which actually was very freeing.
Yeah.
You're just like, you just give yourself permission to be you. And you know what? You're not here to do what I'm doing. You're here to do what's on your heart. And if I can give you any advice, it's to follow that and literally follow no one else. No one else, because that's a distraction. You know in your heart what you're here to do, align to it and do it. And you don't have to do it alone. And that's why I hired Annie.
Well, there you have it. I hope Allie's story and her words really inspired you to release things that no longer serve you and actually step in to what is meant for you from a heart-centered space. If you feel drawn to me at all or resonate with Allie, I highly recommend you join the Next Level Life Manifestation Accelerator, my program that begins next week. The doors are about to close to get in a few days, but right now, if you're watching this on Thursday the 28th, it is over 50% off until end of day today. After that, it will be the normal price. Get in now, otherwise it's still well worth it and more at the normal price. This is a live coaching experience. There are live coaching calls. There's also coursework, so modules every week, meditations, energy healings. There'll be a bunch of bonus calls, including a prosperity energy healing coming up, as well as a Reiki session coming up, and so much more jam-packed in these next 2 months. So if you finally want to step in and have guidance in manifesting the things that your soul desires, join. You will not regret it. Click the link down below, read the entire page, and if it resonates, jump in. This is for you. It can and will work for you if you lean in and show up and do this with me. So I hope to see you in the Next Level Life. Other than that, I will see you in 2024.